Hello and welcome to Unexplained Possibilities, not quite a podcast, and, well, not quite yapping at midnight either. So I guess this means it's a special. So, welcome to an Unexplained Possibilities special. I'm Melvin, sometimes known as Melvin the Crimson Taurus, and guess what, guys? As you can see from the thumbnail, I'm going to be joined by not one, but two very lovely women in the occult. And joining me first is a woman who is supposed to be sugar, spice, and everything nice. But really, she's a naughty little she devil who is a priestess of Lilith and an agent of Lucifer. Ooh.
Mm.
Please welcome back Anima Noira.
Hey, good evening.
So, as you guys can see, Bonnie isn't with us, and this was planned. She'll be joining us in about 30 minutes or so. So, right now I get to get my fill of anima. So, hopefully, she likes me just as much as I like her. Otherwise, it's going to suck.
Well, I sure do. I just think your shirt is kind of creepy
What? This is my new hoodie. What?
because,
How is it creepy?
yeah, it's Japanese blooming tree art style. It's like a print on a kimono.
Yeah, it's cherry
That's what people
blossom.
wear there. It just makes me think if I knew you somewhere in ancient Japan, because this is so out of whack.
Oh, well, I like it. I think it looks cool. So, look, we already started off on a bad foot. See, guys, unfortunately, this is it goes all downhill from now.
Well, it's pretty. It's just see, I have learned to read from signs, and one of the things that I came to really appreciate in my practice, I was seeing clients in person back in Europe for years. So I developed these like tricks, and I realized that if you can look at the person the right way, you can read everything from like what they wear, what they bring, their face, you know, what kind of jeweler they wear. Sometimes the entire story is encoded in that
Hmm,
and their tattoos, and yeah, and then you can connect it to what they are saying.
okay, well, I mean, I wish I could tell you some wise Japanese sayings, but I don't know any. Yeah, I'm not even going to. I was getting ready to say something very insulting, but we'll throw that one back in the vault. But okay, so I'm gonna put you on the spot here. So normally I wear Hawaiian shirts, like that's my thing. I really like Hawaiian shirts. So just from that alone, what would you pick up from me?
Well, I just see you as an older, uh, like a noble woman, very well kept. She seems to me like a temple manager or like a temple servant. She has huge responsibilities, and mm, there is an aura of holiness about her. So I know immediately that it's not like the geisha lives. It wasn't entertainment. It's something else. So that's just what flashed through my mind as I looked at your hoodie, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. It must be important
Oh,
somehow.
well, I will go with that. And hello, everyone who is joining us. Quite a few people, too many to say all your names. So we'll just say hello to everyone and leave it at that. No one gets special treatment here today. Um, so, when it comes to past lives and everything, you're big into it. And I've heard you speak about it a lot. Where did you get this ability from? Like, how did it develop for you?
That's the thing. It didn't used to be that way, and um, it's only been maybe it's 3 years that I started tapping into this. Uh, and at first, it was just paying clairvoyants to read this for me. Then I got the ability to remember more, and then I started to be able to read it for other people and do even like more advanced crazy stuff, because like once you can tap into those timelines, you can even change things.
Ooh. Okay, so
Heal it. You can recreate you can recreate yourself. You can recreate your future, your present, but also your past, which is not what people usually uh, think, but it works the exact same way. I I came across this. I was looking for answers, obviously, like some fuckery in my life that I was unable to resolve. Some like powerful. Oh well, no, I know how I came across this. So here's the story. So my most popular workshop, the one that I liked the most, even though it was like the darkest and the most difficult, was the curse breaking program. That was something that I became fairly adept at, and I really like enjoyed it profoundly. This type of work, uh, because I always went through the process myself, and I was always learning and always purging things. So as I go through this, uh, and I learned like how to deprogram yourself from childhood conditioning, like from what your cultural beliefs are, those little curses that are self-imposed or that others have thrown at you, past relationships, authorities, and then you go, and then you get to childhood, and then you get to prenatal and your parents and your ancestral lineage, and you can uncross all that and clean it, and you can break bloodline curses. Those were a big thing. That's when I actually like saw people legit like dying within weeks
Mm.
when I worked with my students, because like the family bloodline ties are incredibly strong, and when somebody starts messing with them, it does produce like very visible effects in those dysfunctional uh, bloodlines. So, but the thing was, like, my life wasn't getting all that much better, even after going through all of these layers of curse breaking. Like, I went through my childhood and stuff a million times, I did all the forgiveness, all the reprogramming. Yeah, like some memories were not accessible to me back then, but even with what I did, I was like not satisfied with the progress. I was like, I must be missing out on something, I guess, because this is supposed to work and it has not been enough. And that then I guess the whole idea popped in, like, what about past lives? Like, what about before you incarnated into this bloodline? And why did you even incarnate into this fucked up bloodline? So I intentionally had put it on hold for years, because I was like, why engage yourself in those fantasies about some other lives when you have enough to deal with your own life, like past and present, your childhood, your ancestors. So I wanted to start with what was immediate, and I don't think it was a bad choice, even though kind of looking back, you know, sometimes the answers are not found in the immediate proximity and in the realm of the obvious. And I had spent too much time digging through that sandbox, because I am now looking at like a way bigger, it's not a sandbox, it's like a giant beach with an ocean. So I paid this one very capable conjuring witch for detecting curses and demonic pacts and stuff. And she always came up with something that she could detect and break it off from me. But I kept wondering, like, where does this come from? Like, obviously, I haven't taken these covenants that she speaks of in this life. I felt these curses, like, I know that these beings were attached to me, but where does that come from? I have never interacted with those beings in this life.
Uh oh. Oh no, we lost Nora. What's happening here? Oh no! 1 second, guys. Let's see if we can get her back. Oh, there she is. She's back.
Sorry, I don't know where it cut off. I was sabotaged by some
Yeah,
higher power
evidently you
here.
weren't supposed to share with us what you found out.
I just found out through scientific experience and working with other practitioners that you can carry curses and demonic pacts apparently from past lives.
Well, that's kind of
That,
frightening.
that's what opened up a whole new worldview for me, because I was like, so this stuff that she is detecting, where does it come from? And then I started seeing it little by little, and I'm like, oh my god, I am some gambling libertarian man in 1700s, and I see this group of people that I have sort of screwed over, doing um playing the cards and stuff. I guess I cheated or whatever I had going on, and they didn't.
Oh, we lost her again.
Here we go again.
Oh, and she's back again. Welcome back again.
Oh man. Yeah.
Uh,
I started seeing scenes of people cursing me in the 1700s. Like they were writing
oh my gosh.
like a threat letter
Mm.
or a letter accusing me of something, and they were like all signing it and like spitting on it. And I'm like, oh wow. So they cursed me because I was this gambling man and I like cheated at the cards and I took money from them. And this is how the demon got attached to me.
Now, I'm curious. What demon, and do you still cheat at cards today?
I don't I don't gamble, but I have a fondness for these things. Like I actually do French cartomancy. I read literal playing cards and I collect them.
Oh,
So
okay.
there is still something of it. There is still something of it in me. Like it does give me excitement. I'm sure I was good at it, and I was using glamours and all kinds of stuff.
Okay, so note to self: never play cards with you. And then it might spur something back. I'd have to check your sleeves and everything. Like, hold up, Nora, I know your game. So, but that's pretty cool though. But also frightening at the same time, because imagine how many people we have crossed in however many
Oh,
lifetimes we've had.
that's the thing, I had this reading done and this purification done maybe a dozen times with her. Every time it produced some effect, but then I realized just what you're saying. It's like I can go through this forever, so either I need to have a specific intention, or I need to learn how to do this myself. So I started following specific themes and timelines. For example, all the times that my father has screwed me over, because he was one of the souls that's been just following me around forever.
Oh, jeez.
So, like, if you're seeking reconciliation with someone, forgiveness, your parents or whoever else you had like a difficult relationship with, you will want to see whatever the two of you had done to each other, and that will help you. That will help you to get over it and like release them in their entirety, because a lot of what you're feeling is not what they did and said now or what you remember them doing and saying. It's everything beneath it, you know. And these feelings can be confusing because you don't know where they're coming from.
You said something very powerful there. Release it. And I think that's what we all have a lot of trouble with. It's releasing, whether it's releasing that anger from someone who did you dirty, or releasing the fact that a crush may never like you back. And when we don't release that stuff, we keep that energy in us. It builds up, and it could create a monster out of it.
Yeah.
So
And like knowing these stories helps to release those emotions. It really helps. It even helps people who like don't believe in it, who think it's just like to satisfy curiosity. But I mean, it's powerful. Storytelling and images are powerful.
okay, so
It was for me initially. Initially, for me, this was more like storytelling. I wasn't sure to what degree can I take it seriously, these readings that I was getting, because I wasn't able to tap into everything that they saw. Like some of it definitely. right away vibe with me. The other things, I didn't know, and I had no way to verify it. So it's been an experiment at first, just
Yeah.
just having an open mind and considering that yes, this might be real and it would kind of explain things and it allows for a new layer of reality to explore.
Oh, and Angie just joined us. So, everyone, I want you guys in chat, who's ever talking anyway, to embarrass Angie by saying happy birthday because it is her birthday in Slovakia.
Hey,
So,
happy birthday, Angie.
so happy birthday,
That's
Angie.
fantastic.
So,
My friend Kyla is also having her 30th birthday today.
oh, well, happy birthday, Kayla. I saw she was in here somewhere, unless it's a different
Yeah,
one.
let's embarrass her as well. See, turning 30, it sucks. It was bad. I didn't even celebrate that one birthday.
Um, oh gosh, I don't like revealing too much about myself, but I don't think I really celebrated any of my birthdays. So, uh, but this year, oh, because a massive project is finally coming to a close, I'm getting myself a giant red velvet cake.
Oh, you should.
Oh
You
yeah,
should.
I will be putting on about 5 pounds, but I don't care.
Just from looking at that cake.
Yeah. Oh, like so. If anyone ever like wants to get on my good side, give me a red velvet cake. Oh, hello, Behemoth X. Oh, I said I wasn't gonna give someone special treatment. I just gave two people special treatment. God darn it, I'm a
They
filthy.
deserve it.
Yeah. so, um, so Nora, this is something that it's just a weird personal thing that I've somewhat paid attention to, but not really paid attention to. But you got me paying attention to it, and this is recently you did a money spell, you said, and it didn't quite go
Yes.
right.
Okay, let's continue the embarrassment here.
So oh yeah, like I said, this isn't quite a podcast, this isn't quite yapping at midnight, it's a special, so we talk about the special stuff. What did you do and what went wrong?
So I planted a money plant, beautiful ceramic planter that I got from my witchy subscription box. They always send you a seasonal ritual. It's very well prepared. The ingredients are like charged and blessed. So I always like to take advantage of this magic. Timing it with the natural cycles. And the theme for April was abundance. Like planting that thing for the spring. And so I plant the money plant, go to sleep peacefully, and next day I wake up and the plant is everywhere because the cats have used it to play ball with. They just
Denied.
knocked it over and destroyed it. I'm like, okay, like there is some Lords of Opposition action happening here. And because this happened before, I'm just not going to try this type of spell or this particular spell again.
um
Sometimes it's just you need to decide if it's worth keep pushing through or if you should just be looking for a different path or pay attention to something else. I think in my case, it was a definitive pay attention to something else because this would be a loss of time right now. Everything is underway. There's way more important stuff happening in your life now. So don't try to conjure up quick cash.
so I probably money right next to love is quite possibly the most requested tarot reading I get, or I'm pretty
Absolutely.
sure it's the most requested spell that someone wants. And oh, I can't remember how many years ago now, but I did a money spell with a candle, made a sigil and everything, and it was the only one I've done. And I said, no, I would like $1 million. That'll be nice. But realistically, I said I would like an income, just something to pay the bills. And what I did was, like picture it like you're supposed to do and really feel it like, nope, this is mine. And shortly after that, I got a few new tarot clients and who are, so to my surprise, still with me, and just a small income coming in every month. So I think when it comes to money spells, a lot of times we have to sort of put out the I need a bunch of money quickly right now. And I think it works
And so
better if it's
I think it actually was an omen, like what
mm,
happened with that plant. Because think about the significance of the spell. You are planting something into the ground. You're grounding something. But I'm supposed to uproot myself from here.
mm,
I cannot plant my prosperity here in upstate New York because I'm not meant to stay here. So I actually did a different spell, a mojo bag, a pouch, which is worn in your underwear on your body, close to you, so that like the aura of the spell sticks with you. And this one, I feel it works fine.
okay.
So it wasn't so much the intent, I realized later, but it was the type of the spell. Like, don't tie it to the place because you're leaving, bitch. Duh. That's why we knocked it over.
You know
You're not
what?
supposed
That
to
makes a
plant
lot of
anything
sense.
in this ground. Put it on yourself. Put it on yourself because you are going to be moving.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, that makes total sense actually. Well, the cats did you a favor or whatever worked
Yeah,
through the cats.
I mean, they startled me. Spirits startled me, and they definitely caught my attention because I started thinking like, oh my god, something is up. You know, it rarely happens that you get sabotaged quite openly like that.
Yeah, well, evidently you needed the slap. Well, some women like that on their
They
bums or
do slap
something.
us around, don't they?
Yeah. Now that's interesting too because I had to stop the inner 2-year-old in me when you said, "Oh yeah, you put it with your underwear." I was just like, I just want to giggle so badly. Just
Yeah, no, do you want me to show you?
oh no,
Like,
oh no, don't do
no,
that. Oh,
it's here.
okay. Jesus Christ, Nora, this almost went X-rated.
Hello, YouTube. No, see, that's a mojo bag. It's a pouch, and you sew into it. It's a dollar sign. So you got red, you got gold or yellow for prosperity, and green, a thread, old folk magic. Using thread and needle, and there is a green uh, stone inside and some herbs.
Okay.
So
You know
it's
what? Everyone, yes, I did turn red. Everyone is definitely going to try this now. So you just watch. So yeah, I definitely went red. It was unexpected. Okay, shut up, guys.
I wouldn't do it on my live stream during the daytime.
Well, you know, gosh darn it, you threw me off now, and now they're making fun of me. Way to go, Nora. I'm blaming you. It's the Lilith that's in you.
Yeah, I guess that's the Lilithian spirit. But see, this is like not me trying to be edgy. Please don't switch off the lights. Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh.
So that's demons for you. Lights going off.
So take that as another
I,
omen.
I actually learned this from a quite high positioned, high connected Wudon priest, Ugan, who lived in West Palm Beach. He like kind of initiated me years ago. I was practicing Haitian Wudon for a while, and that's how you wear the spells, who have the form of like tiny little packets, tiny little what we would call mojo bags. Like, you are supposed to pin it to your underwear, or when you're a woman, you're supposed to wear it in your bra on the left side.
On the left, why the left side?
It's got something to do with like a connection to the heart. I have personally found this to be powerful. I don't know why it works. See, like in folk witchcraft, you don't really know why things are done a certain way. Um, you just accept that it works. Like, and once you've tried it and it's worked for you, just pass it on.
Yeah.
And that's how the tradition is kept alive.
Yeah.
I was never told, why, but like obviously every body part has a significance, a psychosomatic significance. So you could say that like breasts represents nourishment, the element of nourishment and care in your life. Uh, so like the spell becomes a part of your self-care. The spirits will be now taking care of your life better, and it also like signifies acceptance and trust. The heart chakra is where trust issues come from. So like you're really inviting this thing into your life uh, in an intimate way, and that's why I think it works better than if you just have it in your pocket.
Okay. I'm gonna try that out one day just to see. I'll even find a bra or something to put on too. I'll double it up.
Well, there is a tradition among my ancestors. I don't know how you would call this in English, but we call it scapulier, which is like a textile amulet talisman uh, dedicated to the saints, and it's something that would be worn under your underwear secretly on your body as a first layer, and it would be mostly for protection, and it would contain herbs.
You know what that is in over here in the States? A concealed gun. So that's what that is.
Okay.
I mean, like that's exactly what you just described, and you added the protection. So that's a.
Saint Christopher, pray for us. I mean,
So I just love.
or Saint Michael Archangel, I guess. Like he's the patron of armed forces and stuff.
Yeah. So I think we have that one covered. But speaking of protection, and honestly, since we first spoke last month, sometime, we've been speaking on and off and getting to know one another, and you have some crazy, we'll just say stalkers, and
Yes.
I want to
The
know.
dark side of fame.
I want to know because everyone talks about the spirits they work with, and I'm the fifth element of, I don't know, Jucifer or some mess, and I'm protected by this and that. Uh, in your case, though, do you feel that Lucifer or Lilith or whomever's around you, do you feel that they actually offer you protection?
Oh, absolutely. But see, like protection does not mean that you will not be experiencing things in your life that you might perceive as obnoxious. Because other people have free will to be obnoxious. You can't take that from them. Um, it's just you will be protected from. See, I have never been in life danger, which is kind of quite rare even among occultists. I have never brushed shoulders with death. Never. I've never been in an accident. I never had a serious illness. I never had any major surgery. Nothing. So that is something that I would call protection with a capital P. I was also never materially desolate. I was actually quite well off throughout my adult years, and yeah, I've never gotten in debt. I was always provided for, and I was also never alone. I was always surrounded by people, always somebody coming into my life. So I do think that these are blessings. Like this is a form of protection.
And that's the thing. Sometimes I think we look beyond that, and sometimes we just forget about it because we get slapped upside the head, and it's a lot of things. When it rains, it pours, and it's just hard to take a step back and look at what you do have, how much worse it could be, and blah blah blah.
Oh, absolutely. See, I perform acts of charity for those who are worse off than I am. Like, yeah, I'm living on somebody's couch right now, but I have a friend who will have her car repossessed and her electricity cut off if she doesn't pay the bill, which is something that I'm not immediately threatened uh, by. So, like, like I'm gonna help her out. And I think that's a fantastic, very underappreciated uh, practice among occultists. Like doing charity is actually it's actually magic because you're basically acknowledging your own state of abundance, that you can act from a position, a place of plenty, because this mentality of lack, it's like you cursing yourself whenever you think that you don't have enough, or you are jealous or envious about others who have more. You're just like, you're blocking yourself
Yeah,
whenever you appreciate what you have, and you express your power by elevating somebody who has less, then like you're inviting a different kind of energy into your life. And I've known a couple of people who have like practiced this religiously, and it was coming back to them in big ways. Like they were being given major gifts, major discounts.
I.
I have a friend who's like this, who was like having a gratitude journal,
Mhm.
who was supporting some kind of orphanage in Africa, even though she was barely making anything. And like monetary opportunities and generosity from other people are always coming to her life in ways that you would consider like pretty improbable. Like, how many times have you seen a landlord knock at your door and say, "Hey, like I heard that you're going through a divorce and you're having a rough patch. Do you want a discount on rent?" Like where I come from in that city, I've only heard this kind of story once in my life.
That's pretty lucky. And
So stuff like that would be happening to her, or like she would be wishing for this bike, and a week later she runs into some guy in the garage of the building, and he has the bike there, and he legit tells her that he bought it, but he doesn't want it, doesn't need it, and he gives it to her.
I mean, hey, whatever works. And as you guys can see, Bonnie is with us, but she has also vanished, so she is Houdini.
I'm here. I am
Well, you
here.
just heard her disembodied voice, so ooh,
Not
ghost.
disembodied.
But
She's barking at the hounds of hell.
yeah, so the Texas witch needs to handle some business. Uh,
I am.
but
Oh, but she is like a real southern conjure woman. Like, I wouldn't want to be on her bad end,
oh
honestly.
gosh, I wouldn't either. I've seen her mad. It's scary.
Oh, me too. Oh yeah, I have seen her in the state of dark joy.
Dark
That's a good way to
joy.
put. I'm gonna steal that from the state of dark joy. I like that.
No, that is an actual thing, or you can call it the dark residue.
Dark.
It's like when you're doing black magic and it takes over you.
Now, you know what's interesting, because I speak to a lot of you guys who are into the dark and occultists and very dark, we'll just say. And here I am, my stupid little butt, and I puke rainbows, and barf Skittles, and I'm just sometimes I think to myself, how in God's name do I know all you people? Because I do not fit in very much.
Because you are slash were one of us, and that's why we all recognize you, and that's why we all like you. That's why you have this understanding of what the Black Lodge is about, because you are a part of it, even though you may not, you like may not acknowledge it now. Um, the Black Lodge recognizes you.
I love it. Barfing Skittles is the way of the left hand path. So, but hello, Bonnie, and welcome.
Hey.
Oh, and your volume is low again.
Okay. Let me just turn this thing.
So, and I should have gave you the good welcome. I'll do it now. Welcome to Unexplained Possibilities. There you go. I didn't give you the
Yeah,
good
yeah.
welcome, Anima, though. You got the, I don't know, the teasing welcome. But now
Wait.
things are going to get very interesting because we have two witches with us, both incredibly knowledgeable. One of them usually likes
I'm
to uh, put needles in me just to poke me a little bit to see me react. And, so this is going to get very, very interesting. And we're going to start off with this because, Bonnie, I know you're a channeler. Anima, I believe you channel, right?
Yes.
So we're going to start with Anima because A before B. What have you channeled that you just wanted to kick out when it's like, no, no, go away, but you couldn't get rid of it?
Oh, you like to hit hard, right?
Well.
Um,
okay. And in what terms did I want to get like?
Well, Bonnie,
Okay,
I said Anima was going first, aren't it?
oh,
no, she's got
Oh,
it.
Anima's
Let her
over here like, yes, skip me, come back.
well, okay, but like because we're scared or because it's annoying, because there's two different types.
Well, let's go with both. Let's go with
Okay.
scared and annoying.
You want? No.
What are we going blank here?
I can tell. I can do it. Okay. So like, when it comes to annoying, and I know he pops in from time to time, but a friend of mine that passed, his name is Chris. In fact, he's come to different medium friends or friends that have gifts of mine, trying to give them info, without saying too much. He unalived himself supposedly, and I don't think he unalived himself. I think somebody else did it for him that was very close. I've gotten down to the key of where he's hiding the information. The family even found the key that I was telling him about. But it's like for a long time, he finally kind of drifted off. I'm like, dude, you're kind of like draining me. He finally realized it, and that's why I think he would go to other people. Of course, now the first time I say I would ever gotten scared, Melvin, that I've worked with in Morgan. That's the first. She's the first deity I've ever worked with, and she has, I guess you would say, possessed me. She jumped me one time, because I will try to be nice as long as I can, but once I get pushed, but I guess I didn't jump and take it for myself and my family at the time quick enough, and maybe it was because I wasn't ready or didn't know how handling a deity versus an actual person, somebody that was human before. I think it just kind of overwhelms me because I was scared for a minute there because I felt, well, kind of like with the time with working with Settlement, you realize that when you allow something to injure you, you can do things that you normally wouldn't do. And
I had some disturbing experiences channeling as a medium. We developed special techniques when we could channel pretty much anything through me or my assistants, and then mess with it. And it always went well. They would usually give me the more hardcore stuff, like the curse or the blockage or the root cause of some sickness.
Is that camera?
Yeah, no, it's just
it.
I don't.
Okay,
know.
well, spirits are active.
I'm telling you, something is going on.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Nora. Keep going.
And I mean, it went fine. I kind of got used to always, having the darkest energies pass through me, just because I could take it easily. step in and out of it. Nothing would creep me out. So yeah, you're like showing up there as Satan, who was claiming that the client has sold his soul in previous centuries, or like spirits of intranquil dead, dead soldiers. All that was cute and dandy until one day they gave me the task to channel somebody's mental breakdown. And that's when shit went haywire. I started losing my mind. I started kind of demolishing my studio because I really got into it. And I couldn't easily snap out of it.
Hang on, sorry.
I nearly broke stuff, in my own office. Like I barely contained myself. And after we were done with the session, I was like, dude, like, don't ever do this to me again. We have to be careful.
I'm gonna have to reset up something here because I can't get this little guy working. He wants to keep falling down with me.
Well, you do what you need to do. But that is absolutely frightening. Taking on that type of energy like that.
And it's so weird because, like, I have channeled all kinds of energies, beings, dead people, or even like conditions, illnesses. And it was this chick's mental breakdown that like got me so badly.
And you know what it makes me think though? What if some of that stayed with you? Because you did say that you went to a mental institution for.
No, that this happened 10 years apart.
Okay.
These incidents were entirely unrelated. When I was doing Wudon at the time that I went to the mental hospital.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And then I moved from Wudon to like Western demonology.
Yeah. So will you? I think you've actually answered this before. I kind of know the answer, but for my audience, would you ever go back to Wudon?
It's just it's an entire lifestyle. It's a religion. So there's like not really a way how to do it just as a part of your practice. And yeah, I think it gave me some very, very valuable lessons, very deep spiritual experiences. But I no longer feel a need to commune with spirits.
I always
The way I do magic and the way that I interact with my patrons, it's different, like I don't have altars with offerings. I don't like bringing sacrifices, offerings, all that like aspect of worship. I mean, it's beautiful, those altars that people have in like the New Orleans style, and the hoodoo and the candle burning. It's nice, but also when you live like I do, you can no longer afford to be this ornate and this elaborate. I will have to get my stuff packed into suitcases and maybe ship 1 or 2 boxes, or just like downsize again, because like when you're moving around the country and traveling, yeah, good luck with keeping any kind of traditional magical religious practice.
I want to say you're reminding me of an animal, and the worst part is I can't think of the animal, but it's one that's always on the move. It never stays in one spot, and I don't mean that in a negative way either.
Oh, there's a bunch of them. Yeah, they absolutely do. They have such large territories that they're basically constantly on the move. I think the Wolverine does this.
Yeah, but we know you're a badger, so it is interesting though. And how would you say, coming from Europe to the States, I'm pretty sure you've run into other practitioners. How would you say it differs, the practitioners here versus there?
Massively. It differs massively. See, Europe, you gotta realize, is atheist, is agnostic. Religion has totally outlived itself. Christianity is dead. Like, even people who were born into it, they don't give it any credence. So those of us who actually seek the supernatural are very fringe. We are very fringe, and like you are more likely to to encounter ridicule than any kind of persecution, which is actually worse because it kills the spirit. You know, Americans are way more spiritual. Everybody around here has seen, everybody around here tells ghost stories. Everybody has seen UFO. Everybody has run into witches. There's like so many witchcraft traditions which are still alive. Everything from voodoo on to Santeria, um, old American witchery. So this land is like way more paranormal, way more spiritual, and it's also way less civilized. I have come to
Well,
realize.
you know what?
It kind of goes together,
Yeah.
because like stuff happens here that you just can't fathom. Like where I come from, I didn't even realize like how different everything is.
Yeah, it's a trip and a half to say the least, but
And it's not like in the movies, like people think that USA is like in the movies where it looks like glamorous and like beautiful and like top of the world. And then you come here and you realize 90% of the country is freaking redneck, Walmart, camouflage pants, meth, and Florida man.
oh god.
Like there's like stuff that you can't figure.
No, well,
Wait till you see Texas.
no, Florida, I because of Mystic, since he's from Florida and he likes my in case you missed it, just because of him, I will always find a weird story from Florida, and good lord, that place is in the Twilight Zone. I refuse to
Oh,
believe it's real.
absolutely. I don't know what's in the water, if it's like the sun and the substances that make people so crazy there, but maybe it's an egregore, maybe it's the Bermuda Triangle emanating something.
Yeah. And Bonnie, Angie said, look, she thought for a moment you had a
I
giant
know.
thing of tuna, but what's happening here, Bonnie?
It's this.
God, I love those noises. I don't know what it is about those dings and the resonance. I love them.
My
So, Bonnie, I gotta know something.
oh.
Well, first of all, you're looking on point too. Good lord, both of you guys are looking good. Now I feel like a pig. Jeez, I should have worn a tux or something. Um, but
I dig your shirt, your hoodie. It's
yeah,
beautiful.
the new hoodie. Anima doesn't like it. She said it's creepy.
Really?
Oh no, I was just a little shocked because I had this flash vision of some Japanese woman.
So
I love it. Well, and that's one thing I wanted to get the cherry blossom kind of coming up over my shoulder before. I thought that was real pretty.
yeah, I like cherry blossom. They're calming. I will one day go to DC just for the cherry blossoms.
Pretty sure I would kill one though, because from what I've understood, they're really I wouldn't say finicky. They're just gentle little trees.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm shocked that I can actually, grass is lucky to serve. I've actually had a friend, not a friend, it was one of my hairdressers. He's actually very, very witchy. But it's always kind of on the down low because where I live. But he would always schedule me last and everything. And he'd be like, I just need to, like, he would use my energy. It was like he was vamping, but in a healing way, because then of course he would be like, all right, let's pop your neck, let's do this. He knew, he had, I guess, taken some classes on, not like a chiropractor, but he knew how to just kind of like relax certain muscles. But he had told me, he's like, and this makes sense. I mean, anybody that knows me, I talk too fast. I have a lot of energy. And it's too much. So when I go to touch a plant, it'll take it. It'll kill it. It's interesting. And I, to me, what he said made sense because I'm like, I want to touch, it's like a kitty. Like I want to, get up close and like, prune them if they need pruning. But I literally, if I, I need gloves before I can tend to plants.
Well, she's got the baneful touch. She doesn't have the green thumb,
Yeah,
but she's got the baneful touch.
we're very much in the same place, Bonnie. I can't grow anything. They said,
Same here.
yeah.
I've never grown any one of those magical plants, actually.
You know
The
what?
previous ones, they failed because I just don't know how to do plants. I just don't have that green thumb.
Yeah.
I know, and it's crazy because like so many people, they make it look so simple.
No, it's not.
I'm growing
It's
an onion, if that counts for anything.
I used to have plants in my ritual chamber, and it was like so crazy that I got rid of it, and then I never tried plants again because I would do a ritual, and stuff would it would start growing so fast that it fell out of the ceramic planters like in a week or two, or it would like suddenly die, like
Yeah.
I figured out that I just can't have plants in the ritual chamber because that stuff doesn't work the way it's supposed to do, and it's better if there is nothing alive there that like my magic could touch.
Is it a
Right.
chance that you're actually taking the energy from the plants, though? Uh,
I think it was the energy generated by the rituals, but it had different, it had like different kind of unexpected
Oh,
effects.
nice. Noella said indoor plant lights help.
oh,
It's
okay.
interesting.
Indoor plant lights. Got it.
Interestingly, I do have a healing touch for humans, and like animals love me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's just different for it's
Especially
just different for everyone. But see, like some people have blessing powers, some people have cursing powers. I have yeah, and like when you're known as a magician, people will ask you to perform different ceremonies for them, even like life transition ceremonies. Like we are often asked to officiate weddings, and like I have the blessing ability. The people that I have joined in marriage, they are all together, and it works fine. Every time I went to bless somebody's new house or a baby, it works fine, but like other black magicians have been asked to do the same, and they have left a trail of like misfortune behind them. So like we have different powers.
That's interesting. I'm going
yeah.
to have you bless some money of mine, and we're going to see what happens with that. But it's
Do that.
interesting that you say you have the healing touch as well, because I wonder if that would explain why you have so many crazy people after you, in a way. No, no, no. I'm being serious. I'm being serious because when when
No,
you feel some sort of energy, when you get that energy and then it's taken away, you crave that subconsciously. You want it back. And it's almost like you could become addicted to it and you will chase after it, even if you don't realize you're doing that. So I wonder if that would explain some of it.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, like like large part, the crazy people, um many of them are exes, so yes, they want that piece of me back in their life because they liked it.
Bonnie, what's your power?
Um,
She talks to the dead.
sarcasm. No.
She's got the powers of sarcasm. That's malediction. That's cursing by words, by spoken or written word. Spoken.
Like, when you talk about my gift, I mean, and I would, like I said, it's kind of I've mentioned many times, like my emotions really. I was doing spell work before I knew what it was happening because I'd get angry or I'd get upset and say something, and then literally watch it come to fruition in some way. It took a long time, because I was raised where, okay, that's just a coincidence, but a whole lot of coincidences. It's kind of like, what's it called? Like when you're dealing with a crime, it's like a whole bunch of, oh, what the heck? It's the when you have a whole lot of evidence
Mm-hmm.
that might not be DNA, might not be. It's kind of like that. I have a whole lot of
What,
supporting
circumstantial evidence? Circumstantial?
Yes, circumstantial. Like, you know what I mean? So like, for it took me up until, you know, not too many years ago that I'm like, you know, and realize that my emotions are a lot. Now it works in two ways. I've made accidentally bad things happen, but also I've had times where it's strange, but having a huge emotional release. Heard, you know, like the little ching ching when you're selling stuff on Etsy or something. I've heard that to go off of just being around a friend of mine, because me and her were talking, and me literally releasing that. It was almost like a waterfall or something, just kind of flowing out. It literally started chinging. That deep, heavy. You know, it was one of my emotional days. It was sob. It was a big sob, and yeah, it was chinging for a hot minute until, you know, we had worked on a ritual. This, you know, at that time, me and this person, and pretty much until it was over, and you know, we were settling in, and it was really late at night at the time. By the time we finished, so it was like then it kind of cooled down, but literally there was chinging. Just steady. I need to learn how to do it for myself. So, but it was, and that's the only thing is I would love to learn to harness it, put some reins on it, and kind of control it a bit better. You know, kind of, I love it. I'm going to use a little kind of visual here, like the Chariot card. You know, it's still horses. They can go both, you know, the two horses can go separate ways, or they can work together and like really head on for whatever. But with the reins, you have a little more control for these wild beasts.
Okay, I'm gonna have to remember that. I'm actually gonna watch this back again. What's my power? Shoot.
Your power. Well, you have a way of storytelling, and are not even just stories, like even being factual things. Like, it's weird. It's like you have that voice that is made to, I don't know. It's like kind of grab people's attention.
Oh, and he's got the gift of prophecy as well. He's spoken prophetic to me, and he doesn't even know it, and it was like very eerie, and it was the same stuff that I've gotten through other mediums.
That's cool, and I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, he's not gonna toot his own horn, but I've seen him kind of start out where I'm not gonna do anything with you, and you know, and then you realize, well, I'm not gonna tell him anything, except for right this second. But because he's a Taurus, I'm like, you know, because if you say something, he'll be like backing out. Like, no, I'm not. I said I wasn't. So now I'm not. Now I got to stop doing, you know. But he's moved more witchy, and we look at him grinning. He knows what I'm talking about. Looking into different pendulums, because, you know, it was one thing. And he is learning to row, and he's done I'm very proud of him. He's my baby. I helped you know, it was like, he's been really, I would say, one of my not the first, but he's one of my first students on when it, you know, teaching the tarot, and it's been really neat watching him grow. You don't look like you're not my baby, you know what I mean? Like, you're my little witch baby.
I'm turning red again, Bonnie. Gosh darn it! First Anima, now you.
No, but and it's really neat to see. You know, even if you say you're not, you're dipping in. I think, you know, just being around so many different, like you said earlier, you've met so many neat different occultists and or, you know, just practitioners in different sorts that you've kind of picked up along the way. You've taken some advice, you've known to toss some aside, you've learned to listen to your intuition better. Yeah, you know, you and your guide, he knows how to tease. But Pearl will tell you, you know, there's times that you don't, but for the most part, you're learning to listen to the intuition. And I think that's really cool. So it's you are, I would say you're coming into it, you like in not even realizing. And that to me is pretty awesome. Because sometimes when we think too much about a practice that you're trying to learn or something we're trying to learn, we overthink, and it can kind of hinder us. I know for me, because self-criticism and stuff, but with you, because you've looked into it, you've looked at it as, oh, I'm not going to do this for this reason or this reason. I'm just going to kind of play around and just see. Well, you've had some results, and you know that. And it's interesting to watch. I think it's the perspective. You don't make it a do or die. You do it, and you're kind of like testing yourself and kind of putting your foot in the waters. And it has definitely been beneficial for you. I mean, I'm not sure if that would work for everybody, but that is definitely, I think it's been neat to watch.
Well, it goes to this. Everyone has to find what works for them, and everyone has to make it their own. I mean, you can learn every single thing in the world, but it won't mean jack squat if you don't make it your own and mold it to yourself. So that's kind of how I see it. But I also know I am more neutral than anything. I really won't go fully left or fully right because, well, for one thing, I don't want to. But the other reason is,
wow, right. You've learned the dangers of calling yourself a witch in so many ways.
Yeah, and then I don't like titles either. I do not like titles, and that's going to take us to this because I want Anima's opinion. And she gave it to us on, I think it was on a moon day. God, I love that. And your opinion on titles, people who give themselves titles, whether it be demonologist, white witch, white or light worker, and a priest of Makarka or something. What's your take on that? Should we give ourselves titles to feed the ego and confidence, or just be normal?
You can do it different ways, but titles usually had to be earned, recognized by others, peers or mentors or the people. Funny enough, my boyfriends had a habit of giving me honorary titles, and insane enough, unbeknownst to each other, they have given me the same honorary titles. And I'm like, whoa, this is like so strange. Why would they come up with such a thing and then like tell me the same thing? Ooh. And they gave me this title of the bringer of freedom, the liberator. Ooh. Because that's what I did with their lives. That's just some kind of special power that I have. I set people free.
Well, it goes back to that healing and blessing touch, though.
Well, not everybody wants to be set free.
Well, it depends because, what is freedom? We could be set free by realizing I don't want to be set free, and therefore you're making that choice, and you're free by staying.
Or it's like 9 Inch Nails, the famous song "Happiness in Slavery."
Well, that just went wrong over my head because I couldn't name one song by them, but I'm sure Bonnie knows.
I can name a couple.
Yeah, so actually, before we started, I have a tradition of listening to okay, so this is my little ritual I do before I usually do a podcast or Yapping at Midnight. I cut my hair, play a video game, I'll do some writing, and I'll try to find something to eat. And then right before we go on, I will listen to music. And today was AC/DC, and so I can get down with AC/DC, but the 9 Inch Nails, that's just who, I.
You get down with the sick.
What kind of hardcore?
Sorry, it's a music. Haha.
Oh, what are you doing? I'm sorry, I was looking at Sweet Pea.
Is it Disturbed? I was like, oh
I was very reluctant about calling myself a witch because I wasn't sure if that's really who I am. I prefer to call myself a black magician or like a follower of the left-hand path. I have called myself a priestess. Hell, I've called myself Luciferian royalty, but I I used to be kind of hesitant about witch because I think that's like a female goddess tradition that's rooted to the earth, and I just don't feel that I have enough footing in that realm. I've been called a witch, of course.
Yeah.
I just was
Well,
reluctant to accept it as.
I mean, have you found that that's more something more common in the States, Nora?
Yeah, it's definitely different here, you know, and that's the thing. The same words carry different meanings.
Oh, I'm sure yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you what, and this is even funny, like in the States, Curtis is going to laugh because it's where I live in, in the, central kind of Texas area, there is a game that all my coworkers play. Now they'll tease and they'll call it by the proper name that, like, I have a friend that's that was living in Illinois or no, I'm sorry, Indiana. And the same game, he called it, what's it? Curtis, what is it? What's the game that they toss the one I call washers?
Where they toss the what?
The game.
What, hacky sack? What are you talking
Cornhole.
about? Cornhole. Oh, God, your country.
Don't you dare say cornhole. I want to go, let's play cornhole. If like in my maintenance department, these men were to say that, like, they do tease about it now because they'll be like seeing who can kind of get who to turn red first. But cornholing is not I mean, I guess technically it could be a game in Texas, but yeah, we don't call it that.
Cornhole is very southern and very country. I know what it is. I never heard it called washers, though. That's a new one for me.
We call it washers, or like basically. Well, they even call with the bags washers because, like, I live in Texas, and it's people, they're not open, so it's like, yeah, we're gonna call it anything but cornhole because cornhole sounds like.
Well, they call it cornhole because the bags are filled with corn and you throw it in the hole.
Yeah, but to my coworkers, that like signifies, that he's gay now. Like it's it's just very close-minded, small country town, and that's what's kind of funny when you hear these words that are very interchangeable. I mean, have you heard anything since you've been here that offended you and you didn't even realize it's not offensive? Because I feel like I'd probably move to another country and get my feelings hurt a whole lot. To be honest.
Well, you just have to kind of accept at some point that it's not like you are taught, it's not like what you thought, it's not like in the movies, it's just something else. It's just something else entirely, and it's also multi-dimensional. Everybody will have a different experience of the same place, of
I was totally saying. No,
of the same country.
With the titles, the whole title thing, I have a hard time. I mean, like, so I'll just kind of generalize it. I'm witchy. We went to it's an Indian, it was where an Indian, or actually we're like this little, a group of pioneers, and we're kind of, it's about 20 minutes, 30 minutes away, but they were raided by Indians, and they still have this fort. And it's, it's a state park now, but it's the fort itself, you can go through it, go up, and like actually up in the fort itself, it's very interesting, and kind of paranormal wise, we were taking some of the tools and really enjoying it. Actually, the most active room was the one with the relics. Oddly enough, it was a newer building. It was definitely none of that part was old, but the relics itself held a lot of energy. There were like little, these were, gosh, I'm trying to. I think it's not Choctaw or Chickaw. It's not Cherokee. Hold on. I'm trying to remember. Comanche. It was Comanche Indians, I believe. Anyway, they raided it, and killed a lot of the the adults that were there and stole one of the children. But in this area, like when we went in there, the guy that owned it, because I was gonna see about like, hey, can we do it overnight? But this guy goes, he looked, and I didn't even think about it. I'm wearing my, the movie The Craft shirt, but it had a pentagram on the front. And he asked me, "Are you one of them?" But and that's how he said it. Them. Like, do you worship? How did he say? Do you worship the earth? And I'm like, oh, and his the person that was there with him goes, Wiccan. And I'm like, yeah, you guys, something like that. Because if he knew, he would have probably been so terrified, because if you said black magician to these people, they have you as that you're killing babies and sacrificing, which is not obviously something that we practice. It's but when you add that word, that dark side of it, these people would have probably just tripped on themselves to get out of my presence at that point.
And I don't even think that black magician is like a religious confession or identity. It's very individualistic and secretive, so it's nobody's business, like I would say, and you should not be public open about your practice unless you are fully immersed in the Black Lodge, and basically that's all who you associate with, and then I guess then I guess you can do it.
And it was funny is like I just happened to forget. I was like, how does he know? Like, what vibe am I throwing that this guy knows it? And then I'm like, oh, okay. Like I forgot it was. But and what's funny is immediately he saw the pentagram, and he had it with he knew what it was, and to be careful with that. And I'm like, you think? You know what I mean? Like, trust me, dude, I know.
Yeah, we have gotten enough unsolicited advice, right? Like, we know what we're doing.
Yeah. And what is interesting is he was honestly very kind about it. He didn't come across like some, because some of them were straight offensive, right? But you could tell that it was just how he was raised to believe, he was more concerned. He wasn't going to try to push me in any way. He just kind of wanted me to make sure I knew what I was dealing with, which was kind of cute. So I didn't get offended by that. I feel like a lot of people get offended easily about it, and I understand. Especially depending on where a person lives, it can be like hard. I feel like my kids, I know that certain parents, like now my oldest, he had his friends over all the time. But yeah, like some of the parents are a little more skeptical, and until they realize, some people have given me the time to realize that, and I've been told several times that I act more Christian than what most Christian people do, which was quite interesting. And I'm going, yeah, didn't that tell you a lot about your religion? And it is sad, because a lot of people that are into witchcraft in any way, most of them, not all, but a lot of them do. They're more, I would say, empathetic, or more, they want the world to be a safer, I don't want to say happier place, but where we can all thrive and actually thrive.
That might be wishful thinking, but I do want to know this, because as you guys know, there's always some type of weird little drama happening in the quote unquote magic community, and oftentimes wires get crossed, and enemies are friends, friends are enemies, everyone's a two-faced whore, all that good stuff. So what have you been misjudged about, and then someone would come back later and say, hey, I'm sorry?
I know I'm not mad at like. No, I've never had
It
anybody.
doesn't really happen. Um, it should be, but I think people just quietly make their own conclusions and they just move through their own lives, with their own stories
Mm-hmm.
and they don't really want to know the truth. Like you're just for them, you're like a movie because you're just something on social media, something that they consume as an experience. And if they like it, if it inspires them, or if it's like titillating to them, they'll keep consuming it. If they don't, they will switch you off. Sometimes they will be a little obnoxious, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not like anyone thinks about you so deeply. And even those people who like kind of get obsessed with me, it's obvious that they are living their own stories and they're just projecting something on me, and they would probably be very disappointed if they met me in person.
Like,
Wait, wait,
I,
wait, wait. Why would they be disappointed?
like you, like I'm.
I lived through this. I got both like officially famous, like in actual media back in Europe, and also I got like cult underground famous with a blog that nobody knew how I looked. Everybody just read it.
Those are
And
all.
even after I edit some photographs, I was writing like short stories, memoir, erotica, basically, or like a dark thriller. Um, and when I then started running into my own readers, and that was even after I published my own photographs, so you would think that they would know how I look, they would have all kinds of fantasies about me, which were then like shattered when they ran into me like on an art gallery opening. So I would turn around and there's this dude like staring at me, kind of rude, but he can't help it. And then when he finally gets the courage to strike up the conversation, he confesses that he's been like reading the blog and he imagined me different.
It is
It's
interesting.
like so cruel when this shatters. That's when you realize Anima Noira is not a person. It's not me.
It's a,
It's
it's a, it's
it's
well.
it's legend, it lives a life of its own. And one of these dudes told me, I have imagined you taller. So like I'm his
Sorry.
hero and I'm tall. I'm not really small, but like, see, that's how I was for him in his intimate experience.
Funny.
One publisher told me that the relationship between the author and the reader is intimate. Another one told me that he imagined me more of a brunette, like with darker hair, because that's how I look to
Watch
him.
way too many movies is what, and that's the truth though. I think, and that's because I noticed in when it comes to witchcraft and stuff in the different, I guess you'd say groups and so forth, your friend groups and whatnot. Um, to me, in my opinion, don't come at me. I feel like the women seem to have a lot of flirting coming at them, DM, all this and all of
Yeah,
that.
the women are hit on relentlessly in the left and path circles and black
Oh,
magic circles.
it's interesting because it doesn't matter, their profile picture. Some of them don't even have one, but it is insane because it's a female and witch, and all you have to say is a witch. And if you say black magic, whoa, even better, because
Oh yeah, because there's majority of men, so you'll get even more of them. And yes, I also believe that a lot of women kind of get into witchcraft like for the glamour, basically, because they do get the attention. That
well,
and some illusions of power.
yeah, well, because right with, and do you think that, because this is one thing I wonder, it's like, this is, I mean, I didn't think this way at all, because honestly, my worry was like, I couldn't imagine bringing somebody home that was, of course, living, you just kind of go with the flow here, but there were times in my life that I couldn't imagine bringing somebody home that believed, had some of the same beliefs as me, because of my family, just trying to get somebody that didn't, it would have been for me easier to find atheist, to be quite honest. Like, let's call it a hardcore atheist. My family would have probably accepted that better. No matter what, just because of what the title is on it, right? And how they have it perceived in their head, and how their religion has it perceived. You know, for my parents, it's like all dark. It's like sex all in the living room or on the kitchen table. Like, I can only imagine what my family believes. I don't even try.
Sex in the kitchen table where do I sign up?
Oh boy.
One more time. I want to make sure I heard that correct.
You know, just from that statement alone, you're now going to have like 1 billion emails and stuff. So you get, hey baby,
Yeah, you can write
here.
the description. Anima Noira shows her bra and the secret witchcraft contents of her bra on the show today.
That was still unexpected. I should make a short out of that.
That's the unexpected possibilities from the unexplained possibilities.
Well, Alpha brings up that it's a wrong reason, and it is. Well, especially to those that actually are trying to learn it and wanting to, like, if you're getting into it just to meet the opposite sex or whatever, or the same sex, whatever floats your boat. If you're to meet somebody else,
well, I kind of don't blame the people, because like once you're in it, you will be drawn to dating other practitioners, because it's such a passion that people who just don't have a clue about it, you know, they will never be able to command your attention like another practitioner does. And that's why everybody goes batshit crazy about, you know, flirting and connecting with other magicians and the witches. And also because we all like subconsciously, you know, like we're after that power, we want to learn. We want to come across somebody who will initiate us, somebody who will practice with us, you know, all kinds of fantasy scenarios come up. And I think that's why people fall for this so easily. That's why people get into crazy ass long distance romances online.
Some of them get into it just for sex magic.
Oh yeah, sure. No, of course. Like you need an initiate to practice that. Like you can't just go on Tinder.
So
or you can, but like, yeah.
From my perspective, I think all of you are crazy. Like, no joke. I think you're all out there. I think you're all freaks. So far, I have not been proven wrong, which is okay. You know, everyone likes what they like. You have your safe word. But it is interesting, though, because there's a lot of posers. A lot of posers.
Oh, absolute majority. See, I've come to the conclusion lately that a good 50% of these spiritual men, regardless of what particular niche of spirituality they claim to be, you know, from Luciferians, demonologists, left-hand pathers, occultists, to like the more New Age crowd, they are bums and they're addicts.
Well, that's funny you say that.
But these people, they spiritualize their life's failures, trying to make it like glamorous and like they're anti-system, you know, they are free, they are spiritual, like let's do the RV lifestyle hashtag when you're literally just broke, you know. Like spirituality gives people an excuse to kind of explain why why their lives are not successful by the measures of the society. So they start projecting this like a rebellious or anarchist.
It's a cosplay.
But it is cosplay, you know. They don't really. They're not really against the beast, against the system. They are not really survival artists, you know. They are not really travelers. They're just mediocre bums who need to make themselves seem, you know, something more than what they are. So there's a lot of conmanship going on in the occult spiritual circles. It's almost like a genre. Like any man who hits at you.
When I first came into it, I was skeptical in ways. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna, you know what I mean? And then I would do different things, you know, whether it be healing or getting like, like, you know, one of the times I worked with Azazel, I kind of, you know, like I said, I was kind of skeptical until doing that particular working. The person I was dating at the time, first thing, I knew that he was going to have to go. And I like to put off, maybe it's the Cancerian in me, and it's like, I wouldn't call it security, because when you're not happy, when there's it's getting to the point it's abusive and this and that, that's not secure. Sorry, I'm hearing a ting. I'm hearing a ringing in my ears. I hate that. But, I wouldn't say security, but in my mind, it wasn't this big change that I'd have to go back into, right? And then after that particular working, if I didn't do it, literally, it happened, and it happened where I am being, he'd never really been physical until that one day. And then, of course, that one day was enough. It kind of came out of nowhere, but I knew he had to go, and I just kind of kept putting it off. And it was like, I knew that, all right, take your time and see what happens. And I literally am getting choked driving down the road, and all my crazy ass knows to do. And of course, it was kind of like I could feel Belial like swerve the car or try to hit the ditch. You'll be fine. I'm like, do you understand how deep that ditch is? I was trying to, process it in a very rational way. But finally, I'm like, well, I'd already passed out. I passed out. It was awful. But I remember it wasn't for long. It was like that. But he had choked me to where I passed out. And I'm like, all right, well, I can't, what else is going to happen? At least this way I have a running chance. If I don't die in a wreck, then I can at least get out and try to go get help. And I had pulled away enough, and I was trying to get to the edge of the car where he was driving so fast I knew there was no way. And so I took I've always had them like I have monkey feet. Like they're cute toes, but I took my whole leg, my foot and all of it, and used, and because I didn't want to get close enough for him to, snatch me up again. And I used my foot to take the steering wheel and swerve it and towards the ditch. And what happened was it made him have to focus, right? Instead of trying to hit me, instead of trying to, grab at me, hold me in, I had enough time to grab my phone, I dialed 911, screaming out the door, help, because we finally, he kept going, but he having to pull himself out of the ditch because of the truck. Yeah. So when I didn't listen, I'm like, I try to I'm like, okay, I wonder had I actually listened and taken out the trash myself, would all of that had to happen? Of course not, because I would have avoided that moment of ever happening. So it is interesting how I've had to, even when I was skeptical, I've learned. With these deities that we work with, it's like kind of this law of attraction pulling in what we're needing to help us get there. And it's funny because I was never focused on honing somebody that works in magic or anything. Honestly, I would have I thought I would have probably been with somebody that was a tarot card reader or medium before a magician, right? And I remember though, years ago, 10 maybe, Valentina Burton, she was my first person I'd ever had read my cards. She actually did my natal, and she looked at me and she said a relationship with a normal a person that is not spiritual.
A muggle.
Well, she said your happiness lies within a spiritual person. Nobody else is going to understand you because of your gifts. And I didn't realize it and process it until, and really I was thinking about that recently, and I'm going, okay, now that I'm realizing that I was raised in a house where there was you know, a very controlling and, you know, mentally abusive parent, you know, that would even use my guilt and my empathy as a child to get what she needed from me, you know, do I realize what that is? You know, because a spiritual person, you know, I could have been Christian, could have been any religion, but spiritual. Now I realize it's somebody that understands that kind, you know, trying to control. It's interesting because a person that cares about you, that truly will understand you, will understand ways to make you feel heard, especially if you've had those traumas in your, you know, in your younger life. Like Melvin.
I'm not asleep. I'm just listening, and I'm thinking of some stuff because we're gonna wrap up soon. But I'm not asleep.
The fake thing, two pondering pagans brought that. Yeah, the fake stuff. That's a little more ratchet to me, because the fake stuff, they're gonna fake something like that. Then what else? You know, it's just like any other liar.
Okay, so going back a couple of steps real quick. So Anima, you mentioned bums, which gave me a nice kick because I always call myself a bum, but for different reasons. I think part of it, and Pearl calls me a bum, interestingly enough. And part of that is because I think one of my lessons is I have to learn to have nothing to appreciate everything. And, well, that is an uphill battle. Oh gosh, is that an uphill battle? What was I thinking? Ugh. Anyway, so I thought that was very interesting. And the other thing is, you know, you guys talking about being attracted to magicians and witches, sorcerers, warlocks, whatever they want to call themselves. And it's twofold to this, because it is someone who may or may not understand you. And then it's an excitement there as well, because, you know, what girl doesn't like the dark, mysterious stranger? I'm much more simpler. I just like boobs, and there we go. So, I can't ever see them or touch them, but, you know, I know what I like. But it is interesting because we do try to find something that fits us, you know, what works with us. And I think sometimes people forget that, and you can't get caught up in the theatrics, you know, in the dark and mysterious. And for what it's worth too, people, without seeing me, they usually think I'm white and gay. I'm neither, but, you know.
That's the false pretense. That's me being tall and a brunette. Yeah. And I mean, internet allows this wonderful intimate fantasy experience. I mean, it's great connecting to strangers. I've got pen pals that I voicemail with who are from overseas. I will never see them. I don't know what they look like. I don't know their real names. We just talk about the craziest, darkest shit, and it's fire. Like, it's, you know, it's great. But, like, I am aware of this, you know. I'm not trying to meet that person, get together, verify their story. I'm just enjoying the story.
Out of curiosity, How tall are you?
I was wondering the same, not to be honest.
5'5", I think.
Oh, okay. Wow, you're much shorter than I thought, actually.
And that's the thing, because, like, my aura projects something, and then people think that I'm bigger, or that, like, the place where I live must be bigger because they see some greatness in me.
Yeah, I was thinking you were like 5'8".
You have a classic model look to you, though, Nora, and I guess I see that in the way that, you know, and of course most models are not little midgets like myself, so yeah, I can see that, where people would just, I think it would be just kind of an assumption, you know, with you working and modeling in the past, especially. I get, for me, I thought so, but I also, you know, I'm trendy to a, you know, to a certain extent, you know. do like, I usually like very weird clothes, but so watching the the runway models, they absolutely are massive compared to me. I mean, I am very. I come, my whole family, and I've had somebody actually call and say we're like a little Smurf family, and they're not wrong. My sister is the tallest one of us, and she's shorter than you. She's five. I think she's 5'4". She's the tallest of all of us. My sister, is over taller than my dad. I throw this morbid in there, and when my dad first had to have his double amputation, I said, "God, Dad, you were short before." And he goes, "Oh God, Bonnie." He was waiting for it because he knows that I'm going to try to okay, we're going to find a reason to smile, even if it's awful. And I did. I was like, "Do I say this one?" Because he kept looking at me like, "Where is it? Where is it? I need it to feel like you're not feeling sorry for me." Because, my dad, he's a Leo. Don't feel sorry for him. And so, yeah, I had to.
Okay, so we're gonna start wrapping up, and I'm trying to think. Do I want to end on something that will freak Bonnie out, or do I want to end on something where Nora will probably slap me in person? So that's what I was pondering this entire time, and actually, and before we get to that though, Nora, would you ever consider going on a ghost hunt with Bonnie?
Oh my God. Well, I want to see her. Actually, I'm moving south.
Oh,
It's already underway. So yeah.
Yeehaw, you're gonna be with the good boys.
I'm gonna drop by in Texas, and we can go on a ghost hunt.
I know where we're going. I want to pick one. Yeah.
I went on ghost hunts back in Europe, and I mean, I've been to some creepy places, like really, really sad, tragic places, mass graves. I wouldn't go there, just out of curiosity, because you can get intranquil spirits on your ass if you're being disrespectful and you're just snooping around stupidly like a spiritual tourist. But I would go on a paranormal investigation, perhaps, to tap into the history of a place.
Everybody says they would go on one. Well, we ought to set up. We could actually do a big one, or not like a huge, but however many, and we could all meet up and do it.
Yeah, that's all you.
Always so neat, and then of course live stream it or have fun with it that way. But I'm going to take you to the place that I think that's where I want to go. The place that got me on paranormal. What is it? Paranormal Caught on Camera? Sorry, I have to ask Melvin.
Paranormal Caught on Camera, yes. Except for Noella, she's over here. Melvin, say the thing that'll get you slapped. Get slapped. So someone likes pain. Don't like me too much. Huh? Jeez. But okay, that's awesome though. I would not go. I don't do that stuff. I'd rather talk about it than experience. I already told Bonnie a million times I will probably never meet you at your house, and we'll just meet up at a burger joint.
Nice. In a public place.
Yeah.
Well, he thinks
meet other practitioners of black magic in a public place with a chaperone. Don't fly out to foreign countries or visit them where they are at.
No, same with you, Nora. I'm
parental advisory.
Same with you, Nora. I'm not gonna visit you at your place, have Lucifer slap me upside the head, or have a vengeful Lilith oh, you're the little black guy that got away. Now you're my domain. So
have a really haunted. Isn't Philadelphia, in Philadelphia, or I'm sorry, in Pennsylvania, but I think it's near. I don't know, but the little town that movie, it's a video game first. I almost said Cypress Hill.
What? Silent Hill?
Silent Hill. I said Cypress. It's shown in the membrane. Sorry. But is that where that actual quote unquote town is? There's an actual burning town, or old. Is that Jen?
From what I understand, Silent Hill is just 100% fiction.
No, it's a place. Central. Never mind. Huh? Central.
All right. Well, anyway, okay. So let's get to the end of this, because I know Nora. She's like, Melvin, I want to go to sleep now. You're keeping me up. God darn it! Put on this makeup. I'm looking good, but now it's time for me
Yeah,
to
I
come.
need to consort with demons.
Yeah,
It's late
you
here.
know, they're calling me.
Go to sleep.
Nora, where are you? All right, my dark lords, I'll be there momentarily. Um, okay, so first, Bonnie.
Okay.
So Bonnie has a thing about aliens. She's not 100% with them. What would you do, Bonnie? And this might happen one day. What would you do if you actually woke up and a gray alien was working on you or right next to you? Because what they do is they will be right over you and they stare into your face with those giant black eyes and it puts you in a trance. And that's probably happened to you before. You just don't recall it. And that memory could flood back. But what would you do if you woke up and you saw that?
Okay, so part of me wants to say like the badass part, just trying to act like I'm all tough, would say I would kick his ass, but let's be real, 100% honest here. I'd probably revert to that child in me the first time that I saw spirit, like a ghost, and be like, nothing come out. You know what I mean? Like, I think I'd just be too. I think it'd be so much that nothing would come out, and I'd probably just freeze in pain, in fear. Yeah.
Now, would you tell? Good Lord, I can't speak. Would you tell anyone, or would you just keep it to yourself?
I'd probably keep it to myself because people already think I'm fucking batshit. So.
Well, I mean, come on. What's another notch?
Go right on up there and climb that mountain. Yeah, you're right.
All right, so Nora, this one's for you, and this will not get me slapped. I don't think. I think I would have to be like, "Show me your boobs," and I'll be like, "Shut up." So, but
I can't. They would take your channel down.
they
I
would
think.
take my channel down, but I would be okay with that. I would go down smiling.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
I did it for the boobies.
Yeah,
The
well,
boobies.
you know, sacrifices.
Yeah.
So
there you go. You understand what a sacrifice is.
but is there? Oh, what's the wording? Come on, Melvin, don't you mind fart now? Oh, now they're laughing in chat.
He's turning red now because he just.
Anyway, what is a lesson that you've learned from Lucifer or Lilith that you still refuse to accept 100%, and why won't you accept it?
Again. Can you rephrase it again for
Okay,
me?
we'll put it this way. What lesson has Lucifer or Lilith been trying to teach you, but you just won't learn?
Okay, yeah. There was like an anecdote last year. I was speaking to Lucifer and Samael. Samael basically often tries to save me from Lucifer's plots. Like he's the more reasonable one of them too. And there were some future timelines, some events which were like about to happen, about to go down, and had I gone to a certain event, I would have for sure gotten involved with a married man. And Samael told me all about this, like what would happen and how it would go down. So like I actually kind of avoided it. But then when we channeled Lucifer and I was like, yo, like how could you set me up for this thing again? And he said, because maybe this time you would learn finally.
Oh,
Darn.
that, yeah, I've been there.
Now here's the thing. Would you have learned if Samael never said anything?
I chose to forgo the experience because I didn't want this kind of anguish again.
Yeah. So,
I don't need it anymore.
So I think this is a Oh, you know what? I'll do one more thing and then we'll end it. And this is because since it's my channel and I'm the big brains here, I just thought of Third Rock from the Sun. What type of magic do you think I would excel at? Nora, Bonnie, whoever wants to answer first.
You go ahead, go Nora. I'm trying to.
Okay, I actually think that you could influence world events.
Yeah, I mean, manifestation definitely for you. If you literally, like, I feel like you have to kind of get over the hump of not, like, we're going to throw it out there. I'm going to spill a tea. Like, you will have a lot of, you'll build yourself up. You'll be believing. And then if one tire gets off the road just a little bit and you have to hit those bumps, I don't know if y'all have those in Cali, but anyway, the bumps, you know what I mean? They kind of like tell you, oh yeah, pull back onto the lane. You get a little bit nervous, but I feel like if you could kind of learn to stay in your lane, like not in that, but you know what I mean? If you could just trust the process, all the dips and turns, and I think you would be, I know you would be great.
Absolutely, go for it. I'm telling you, you can influence world events.
Have a lot about like what Norman's saying, it would bring other things towards you. I mean, like change, big change. Yeah,
I agree.
Wow.
I think that you're like where you live and some of the stuff there, I think that you could probably bring a lot of people socially looking at what is going on in those kinds of areas. Like, some of the videos you love to get me hyped on, like in a not cool way, you know what I mean? Like, because you have this, because it's so heavy, like who was the boy, the one that you sent me the video that it just stays with me, those kind. And I think that you could actually help those social type of situations with magic. I really do.
Okay, and now that's a good place to end it. Nora, where can people find you if they want to contact you for whatever reason?
Anima Noira on Facebook, on YouTube, or inner-ignition.net. That's my website.
Okay, and those links can be found in the description below. Bonnie, what about you?
Arkham Asylum. No, just kidding. Y'all can find me, Bonnie Woodruff, on Facebook, Twitter. It is Raven Moonto Row, and my YouTube too. I do plan on actually start doing more. I've had it's being laid on me heavy, and I don't want to keep putting it off because I do understand what seems to happen when I do. So yes, I will probably be working on that a lot more. I do feel like it will be more on the mediumship and the learning how to trust your psychic side. So I will be doing a little kind of slow dive into teaching people how to work with those in the same way that I was taught.
Okay, and also, guys, remember to find Bonnie on Curtis Joseph's channel as well, because, I have to be the voice for her. And also be sure to check out Bonnie's monthly tarot that she does here on Unexplained Possibilities. And while at it, be sure to follow Unexplained Possibilities on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and Instagram. Nora, Bonnie, thank you guys for joining. I hope you had fun. And Nora, I know we kept you up.
Good night. Hey, have a good night.
So, bye everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.